I think it's absolutely vital to creating highly profitable, value-creating organizations. What do you think about when you hire, and how personally are you personally involved in hiring, up to what level, and what are the sorts of things that focus your mind when you go through this decision? And phase 2 of that question is, what is the effort that you put in once you hire these incredibly talented people in developing them? Your company has a reputation for, that people will stay there for long periods of their life. In fact, in my class, the 82 class of IIMA, there are only 2 people who have stayed with their original job. One of them works for Godrej, Anil Verma. 33 years later, he's still in Godrej. So there's something to it, because MBAs are the most selfish, possessed guys when it comes to looking after themselves. So if a guy has stayed for 33 years in Godrej, it's a huge tribute to the organization. So could you sort of take us through these 2 things? How do you motivate, develop, mentor people, and how do you hire them? How do you recruit them?
You mentioned Anil Verma. He's the president of Godrej and Boys.
Right.
Yes. Now, we have always not just thought, mentioned, propagated that people are our greatest asset.
Right.
It's not land, building, even brands.
Though you have all of those in abundance.
No, there are major assets, but people, because all of these assets are created by the people.
Correct.
And if you have the best people doing the right things, then we also realize that we must clearly have systems that put the best of the people we have in the most important positions. It should not be like it happens in, say, the government of India, where you get promoted by how long you have been working in the organization, which was typically quite prevalent in India. So that change was extremely important.
So would you like to talk about some of these things?
Yeah, I think I agree with Sadi. In terms of talent, we also recruit management students, and substantial part of our management trainees go through our own internal summer trainees who have made it. But more importantly, when it comes to hiring talent, what I look for is actually a burning desire to succeed. That person has to be self-motivated, because many times, you hear that the organization has to motivate people and you have to be acting like a hero. But to me, motivation has to come from within. You will have setbacks. You should be able to overcome those setbacks on your own. You should be able to find your own answers rather than going to somebody and saying, I'm demotivated, please motivate me. So I think the first thing I look for is a burning desire to succeed. If you have that burning desire to succeed, you will overcome a lot of obstacles. Number 2, I think the fit with values, because you have a certain set of values, including a leadership style. So I don't want somebody who has a dictatorial kind of leadership style. He'll be a misfit in the organization. So clearly, leadership style will be looked at. Number 3, domain knowledge, and what has been his past track record effort if he is coming in from outside, and a very strong reference checking system, so that you know that the person has done well, that he has the potential to grow. And I think these are the kind of things we look at.
How important is money? Paying, being in the, let's say, top quartile of people in your industry. Do you benchmark yourself? You have these guys like Towers and all these various consultants, they do these studies. Do you give any importance to that at all, or do you think that that's not something you should...
You can't not do that, because otherwise you may lose talent. And being an organization which is known for having good talent, you always are poaching ground from others. So you have to do that kind of studies in terms of, where are you in terms of compared to other FMCG companies, and give them the money. And if you also want to attract very good talent, I think it will be expensive. Otherwise, they say, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys.
We are very clear that we should be lower down in the fixed remuneration we pay our people,
and the performance
very high up in the total remuneration our people command, including the variable remuneration.
Right.
So that's quite important for us. It's not very easy to do, because when you do lateral hiring, people don't understand your variable remuneration system too well, and are a little worried. So you got to
So I want to ask you this question, since you have obviously, implemented EVA in an organization-wide, across multiple organizations. This whole thing about stock options to employees, How well do you think that works for you, given your emphasis on rewarding performance? How important are stock options?
I think they can be important, but you have to be a little careful, because the stock option value to the person may not entirely depend upon his efforts. And they don't, I think, encourage people for strong cooperative efforts, etc. So one has to be careful. So we have moved now from stock options to stock grants.
Right.
So it's a part of the remuneration,
Right.
but it will be given in terms of stock.
Right.
And that has, I think, worked a little better for us. I'm not a great votary of stock options being a great way of encouraging people.
Mr. Mariwala, your thoughts on this?
See, we also have stock, what we call stock rights. So they don't get really a stock, but at a certain date they get a certain right, and after 3 years, whatever the share price is, they get the difference.
Right.
We give stock rights at senior levels only, not at...
So you don't do it
down the line, no. Because I think senior levels are the ones which will impact the performance. Yeah, I agree with Sadi, some people may not be impacting, but by and large, that forms a certain part of the remuneration package, because you have to look at environment, what is happening in the environment, So if others are giving, then if I want to attract good talent, I have to do something for them, So it's a combination of fixed, variable, and ESOPs or stock rights, So, and especially in FMCG company, when, you see normally a steady kind of performance, on an average a stock return of, I don't know how much, whatever it is, 20% plus, then I think it acts as
it's a motivator.
It's a motivator, yes.
Your thoughts on the part about hiring, and again, financial services are all used to being paid for outrageously. So how does this work?
It's a nightmare. So
It's a nightmare, right?
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
in services industry, in a competitive
In fact,
globally,
no one wants to hire me anymore, do you see?
Yeah.
I'm happy situation.
you are priced out. So I think here the passion is extremely important, because finding the guys of right competence, right education is very easy, but finding the people with right attitude about the markets. Markets can be very depressed, markets can be in euphoric mode, but keeping the cool and bringing that attitude in the marketplace is very important. And you find very few guys out there. And the guys who last, even very average guys, they can rise to a very high level if that particular attitude is there. So it's a very high bar, highly cyclical kind of a place, particularly the broking side. That has been our bread and butter so far. So there we found that the people have to be really passionate about the stock market. 24/7 he likes the stock market. Otherwise, it is very difficult to... The guy who works here, broadly, he cannot go back to FMCG or some other industry.
Thank you very much. I certainly enjoyed this more than I've ever enjoyed a panel discussion in my life. I'm not sure I can say that for my panelists. Found it incredibly instructive, and they were truly a great bunch of panelists. Thank you very much.